FM News Talk 97.1. On demand audio.
They need to go.
Oh, boy, how different the radical left feels about free speech when they disagree with it, with what's being said. Welcome back into the Marc Cox Show. That was some radical out in Stockton, California. Not that there aren't lots of them out there, so let me be a little more specific. This is a lady named Yvette Falarca. So Yvette showed up at a rally this weekend that was being sponsored by the Traditionalist Workers' Party, TWP. Before you run off and think that must be some sort of a socialist workers' party, let me tell you that it involved some people who were skinheads and Nazis. Those apparently are the people that make up the Traditionalist Worker Party. So they went to the Sacramento Stockton City Hall, and they applied for a permit to hold a rally outside of City Hall. And before they could, now they didn't cause any trouble. They didn't throw any fists. They just wanted to hold a rally and speak their mind outside of City Hall. And this lady, who's apparently some sort of a activist, got baseball bats and attacked these people. Now, I don't think there are very many of us who are going to support somebody who claims they're a Nazi or somebody who's a skinhead for what they believe in, but that doesn't mean they don't have the right to stand up and say it. It may be frowned upon, but just like we suffer through the Black Lives Matter movement and the Bernie Sanders and the Occupy people and all these other people that we may disagree with on a variety of issues, it does not give me the right to take a baseball bat and club them in the head with it for no reason. And that is pretty much what happened up in Portland this weekend. It's kind of sad. It really is. So I wanted to play a little bit of this for you just so you can hear how it went down. And we're also going to talk to State Senator Will Kraus here in a couple of minutes, who's going to talk to us about this gun bill. Today, Jay Nixon vetoed Senate Bill 656, which would allow you to carry a concealed weapon without a concealed carry permit. You could buy a lifetime concealed carry permit if you wanted for $500. The current fee is for a 5-year permit up to $100 fee. And it would also create a stand your ground right. A few of the things in the law that he vetoed. So clearly we are facing moving toward a veto override of some sort. But back to this protest in Stockton, Sacramento. Imagine the scenario that I described for you. A group from the Tea Party or a group of pro-Trumpers hold a rally, legal, get a license for the permit and all that, and then the leftists attack them with baseball bats. That's effectively what happened here. Take the labels away from who these folks were. If these were Occupy Wall Street 99 percenters or whatever they called themselves, and a group of conservatives approached them on the steps of the Capitol building and started beating them with baseball bats, can you imagine the outcry? But not in this particular case.
It's unclear what exactly caused things to go so bad, so fast at the Capitol this afternoon. But what does seem obvious is some people came with different plans for making a political point.
Yeah, it's very clear, actually, to the reporter there what happened. One group wanted to shut down the other group from exercising their First Amendment rights. So the police moved in, and they actually separated them and had to use they had riot gear on and all this stuff to get these people away. The question is, what charges have been brought in this case compared to if those were conservatives attacking liberals? And again, remove the titles. The fact that it was the Traditionalist Worker Party really shouldn't matter if they weren't causing any trouble. And they weren't. They just wanted to shut down free speech.
They were not able to recruit anyone today, and that's thanks to the militant action that took place. That's what matters.
Also making up the 400 or so protester was an NAACP board member who says he cannot believe skinheads and nationalists are allowed to rally openly.
It's appalling and it's disturbing to know that this thing can still happen.
So that's what they've done, and they basically just shut it down. So that's what we're doing, and I'm a little surprised that they were able to get away with it. I should say. This is that Yvette Fierka. Right here.
Yvette Filarica says she's proud of her group by any means necessary and says the violence was worth it.
In the end, they came out of this in worse shape than us. Not just physically, but politically, they lost.
So they did shut them down. They left the Capitol building, and some of them had bandages on their head and all that good stuff. Just a bright day to report there, don't you think? Isn't that just wonderful that happened? That's good stuff. Speaking of Mizzou, Melissa Click, the instructor down at Mizzou who got fired. I first heard this morning on the Jamie Allman in the Morning program. But this lady is the former assistant professor is trying to collect unemployment benefits after being fired for what she did. The Columbia Tribune reporting that she can't claim unemployment because, according to state statute, an employee is not entitled to unemployment benefits when discharged for misconduct. This woman just won't go away. That is some pretty amazing stuff right there. We are joined right now by Missouri State Senator Will Kraus. Will, how are you, sir?
Mark, I'm great. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing fine. Out campaigning hard, I assume?
I am heading over to St. Louis right now. I've got an event over there tonight that I need to be at. Hey, interesting that you just talked about the misconduct on unemployment insurance situation there. I actually passed a bill to change the definition of misconduct because we had a situation where too many people were claiming to get benefits on unemployment that were being terminated for reasons like not showing up for a week or being caught stealing on camera, and Missouri employers were having to pay unemployment benefits even though they were firing people because of misconduct. And so that was an interesting segue into this discussion.
Yeah, no kidding. It's just funny that she's now trying to get unemployment after being fired like that. So for those of you who are unaware, Senator Kraus is also a candidate for Secretary of State for the state of Missouri. And I know that's why I asked the campaigning question for people who weren't aware. I asked him to come onto the show today to talk a little bit about this veto situation by the governor today on the gun bill. I guess I'd sort of held out hope that he might sign it, but it looks like it's going to go to the veto session.
It most definitely will be, and he vetoed it, so we will be bringing this up in September for override, and I think we'll have the votes to override it. I know in the Senate, I think the House is solid too.
So he disapproves of this because it would eliminate the requirement to obtain training. He claimed that it had nothing to do with what happened in Orlando or any effort on his part to want stricter gun laws. He was just uncomfortable with this because he felt it removed some safety issues in the state of Missouri.
Well, I'm shocked that he vetoed it for that reason. I think that we need to make sure everyone has the tools to protect themselves with the situation with terrorism and the attacks that are happening all around the world and in the country. I think Missourians want to be able to make sure that they have the right to protect themselves.
Well, his concern, apparently, Senator, was the fact that he felt that that it would eliminate the background checks that people would go through to conceal carry. I mean, if you're a felon, you're not allowed to carry a weapon anyway. So I'm
Right.
trying to get down to what some of the conditions were that this bill would set up that he's so concerned about.
I don't quite understand that as well. I mean, a felon can't own a firearm for the most part, and therefore they aren't going to be able to carry one. I mean, this does not make it legal for those that cannot own to carry a firearm. Actually, the provision that I think that he's trying to refer to is actually there's this thing called constitutional carry, and this bill is starting that, but it's not really full constitutional carry. It really, the way it's crafted is it allows an individual that is allowed to openly carry to put a jacket on. So if in a situation where you might be openly carrying on your arm or whatnot, and you throw a jacket on because it's raining, and then you get in your truck and you drive down to the gas station and you forget that you had your weapon on, and now all of a sudden you've violated the law because you can't conceal carry, but you could open carry. So that's the type of situation that we've covered in this legislation.
Yeah, good. And you know, I know when it passed, there was no doubt that the votes were there for an override. Do you think there's anybody who changes their vote in the override session?
I have not heard any reason why I think that anybody would change their vote. I mean, sometimes the governor can find something that somebody overlooked or didn't see. In his veto letter, I haven't read the full veto letter, but press release and what I've seen, there's nothing that I feel would justify someone changing their vote.
Good. Missouri Senator Will Kraus from Lee's Summit and candidate for Secretary of State here in the state of Missouri. Hope to get you in the studio again at some point.
Hey, I will most definitely contact you, Mark. Thank you very much for having us on, and thanks for covering this issue.
Senator, thank you, and thanks for giving us some of your time today. We'll get you on the radio here again when you're back in the great city of St. Louis. So there you have it. I'm not surprised Governor Jay Nixon vetoed this, but hopefully it becomes law sometime in September when they can get in there and override him. And then hopefully we have a Republican governor in the future, and we don't have to worry about a situation like that. Ken, thanks for holding on. You're on the air. Ken, you're on the air. Go ahead. Well, I think we've lost Ken. Sally, what's on your mind?
Hi. I wanted to comment on the Brexit thing. You know, no one can deny that Britain was contributing more financially into the union than they were getting out of it. And so all these snobs that keep talking about, oh, it's going to be economic disaster, I don't see how. Now they'll get to keep more. You know, the whole thing, I almost feel like this stock market thing is sort of staged even. It's anybody out there who's upset, don't worry, because it will absolutely come back. I think they're trying to punish England right now. And as far as the young people voting more to stay in the union, those are kids that really don't want to work hard most of their life. They want to be on the dole like everybody else. That's what the European Union was good for, is bolstering up, having the hard-working middle class pay for those who really don't want to get out there and work. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's about in this country. The aliens, the Democrats want their votes, and the Republicans' big donor company friends want them for the cheap labor. It all boils down to these politicians want the middle class. It's all on the middle class back to get up, go to work, and pay for all the do-nothings that just really want a free ride through this life.
All right, Sally, thank you for your thoughts on that. I appreciate it. I couldn't disagree with a lot of what she said. I'm not sure the younger folks over there who voted against this really completely understand how life was prior to it. Maybe that's part of the problem. Need to listen to their elders on this one. 22 minutes after the hour, 314-969-9797. University of Missouri professor Josh Hawley, candidate for Attorney General, coming up. I'm going to pick his brain on this Supreme Court situation and some of the decisions we've got in the last 2 or 3 days. And I'll take your phone calls right after this.